What's happening, guys? This is James Blum with MMOHuts.com, and seeing that 2013 has now officially come to an end, it's time we look back at the free-to-play games that have launched this past year and decide what games deserve to be considered the best games of 2013. Now, I'm not going to try to hide the fact that 2013 was a pretty bland year for free-to-play MMOs. It was really hit or miss, in my opinion, but despite the dry spell, we picked out some nice titles that we think really did well and are probably going to stick around for a little while. But remember, these are games that have actually launched this year. So starting out the list at number 10, we have Prime World. Alright, so 2013 could have easily been called the year of the MOBA. I mean, they seem like they were coming out on a weekly basis. And they sort of still are. But out of what seems to be hundreds, only a few actually launched this year, believe it or not. Smite didn't even launch this year. Oh, and don't worry, the big one made it on this list. But Prime World really changed the template for MOBA-type games by giving the players the ability to farm for resources to customize their champions to their liking. Basically by combining Farmville with League of Legends. So it might not be the best for esports-worthy competitive play. But they brought in these innovative RPG elements and progression systems typically associated with MMORPGs and empire-building titles, and placed it seamlessly in the MOBA space. And that's pretty innovative. It's got sexy graphics like its big competitors, but also has more game modes than you know what to do with. Yeah, it does have its weak spots, and with its unique setup it might throw off some players, but there's no doubt it deserved a spot on this list despite its tough competition. Now this next one takes sandbox MMOs to the next level. Number 9 is Age of Wushu. So Age of Wushu sort of had a rough start out the gate, but after the mishaps between the publisher and game community, and some really grand updates and add-ons, Snail Games truly crafted a world of wonder for their audience. It has a rock, paper, scissors action combat that may not be as revolutionary as the true action combat that everybody's going for, hence the reason why they adopted it for Black Gold Online, but it's a combat system that seems to really work well with the experience that they're trying to offer. And other than that, the game offers freeform progressions, 8 iconic martial arts schools, each with multiple sets of skills, open world PvP, and something I know I wouldn't mind seeing in more MMOs, a random NPC encounter system, which means every encounter and event is determined by how the NPCs and the game world perceives you. It's pretty awesome. There's no denying it, this isn't a title for those new to the genre, but if you're one to enjoy traditional Chinese-style Kung Fu MMOs, Age of Wushu is unlike any other. Number 8 on the list is Forge. Why? Because Forge is a dark horse deserving of greater praise than it actually received. With very little marketing funds, it launched under the radar as a buy-to-play title with a free-to-play heart and soul. Its only fault is that it went free-to-play just a little too late. See, when a game goes free-to-play from buy-to-play, no strings attached, it usually gets a huge spike in popularity because you're getting what is commonly known as a high-quality game at the price of free. That didn't exactly happen with Forge. It had to straight up earn it. That aside, its shooter-style gameplay in the middle of AAA quality environments and maps, various classes with advancements and all of the skills available to the player from the start, the action in this game is intense, to say the least. Forge is a great place to get those action combat MMO PvP matches that you may be looking for without all of the other BS. And believe it or not, there's a nice market for that. Alright, I hated making the decision on this next one, and it was a tough call, so we sort of put them together. Number 7 is War Thunder, and number 6 is World of Warplanes. Just like our decision in the top 10 free-to-play anime MMORPGs videos between Grand Chase and Elsword, it's not easy choosing a winner between War Thunder and World of Warplanes. Both games do an excellent job with their realism and graphics. War Thunder probably takes the cake on that one, even though Wargaming takes their entire team to air shows to learn as much as they can about the planes that they put into the game. But one big difference in the two is that War Thunder doesn't hold your hand as much when it comes to learning how to play, because it's aimed towards the hardcore player. It's more simulator than it is arcade, and for many, that's what they prefer. But that being said, what gets World of Warplanes the higher spot on our list is the fact that the game appeals to both casual and hardcore gamers. For those that want that arcade experience, they can get it. If they want a simulator aspect to the game, there's plenty of settings to provide it. They've even balanced their game for esports. War Thunder might have more historic battles and maps, but World of Warplanes offers up planes that aviation enthusiasts will love, even if a lot of them never made production or left the ground for that matter. Who am I kidding? Aviation enthusiasts probably play both games. Honestly, we suspect that Wargaming is secretly owned by the Russian Mafia, therefore we were a little less worried about Gaijin sending thugs to break our legs if they got snubbed. The point is, both games are great and worthy of this list. It all comes down to what you like in the game. Personal preferences, as they say. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and debate that in the comments below. It's probably going to happen anyway. Neverwinter comes in at number 5 on the list. Okay, so being honest, once again, 2013 was a truly bleak year for gamers looking for a standard MMORPG experience. Yet, Cryptic Studios delivered just that from a very unlikely place, namely a North American developer studio. And as of now, Neverwinter stands as one of the first-generation American-made free-to-play from launch MMORPGs, and with its extensive story, semi-action combat system, intense in-game raids, and foundry system that lets players create content for the game, it provides the perfect fuel for any Dungeons & Dragons fan, and plays nicely all the same with new players. And with a universe that big, they've got plenty of epic content that they can add in as time passes. They just added in the Hunter Ranger class that I myself want to check out. If it wasn't for the early economy drama that sent shockwaves through the community, that would be the only thing that held it back from a higher position on our list. Number 4 is none other than Tera Rising. In 2012, we looked at Tera like we now look at WildStar. Such an amazing game. If only it was free to play. Well, lo and behold, it went free to play early 2013 with one of the most successful transitions we've seen to date. It opened up the game for a larger community to explore and realize that behind the previous price tag lies an amazing and beautiful game. And there's no wonder that Tera has found itself at the top of a few of our lists this year. It's got a fair and balanced cash shop, additional content always pouring in-game PvP scenarios, and more post-Archon storyline arriving. True MMOphos know that Tera still stands amongst the kings of MMORPGs. Alright, try not to be too surprised, but number 3 on the list is Dota 2. Dota 2 is probably the reason we can dub this year the year of the MOBA. With an open beta transition and a launch so big that it had to let its players in waves just to keep the server pressure down and the community happy, Dota 2 is the ideal game for hardcore and casual MOBA fans alike. Valve is dedicated to providing and improving on all the content previously existing in the original Defense of the Ancients free of charge for all players. And the game is innovative. The pause feature in the game is super helpful if a player decides to go AFK, and the courier decreases time away from the lane, which in turn helps the game progress at a faster pace. These are just some of the innovative features that make it the king of MOBAs. There is no doubt they focus on their community, and because the game has been in a forever polishing beta, the years of balancing work have already been put into the heroes, and they prove themselves in the multi-million-dollar championships they host every year. Honestly, it deserves Game of the Year just as much as these next two on the list. The second best game of 2013 goes to Warframe. Warframe was a big surprise in 2013. I mean, come on, a game that was offering up space ninja action in a PvE mission-based game mode that was somewhere between action combat and third-person shooter. It felt like it was some kind of surreal joke initially. But as players continue to roll in and Digital Extremes listen to their community like we love our developers to do, they added in clan housing, dueling, which evolved into PvP, so many new Warframes with their own unique abilities, new missions, new titles and maps, and fair cash shop systems. They really do build the game based on what their players want. I spoke with Digital Extremes developers just as the game went in open to beta, asking about PvP and how it was a big demand from the players, and they discussed how they wanted to polish the game with PvE before dominating with PvP elements, and that's exactly how we see the game now. This title quickly rose to one of the highest grossing games on Steam. And with it now available as a launch title for the PlayStation 4, it's clear that Warframe hasn't yet reached its pinnacle of success and will continue to triumph well into 2014. Finally, we have the absolute best game delivered to 2013, Path of Exile. This game was in what we like to call a forever beta. Path of Exile has been in development for almost 7 years now, but finally slapped on an official launch sticker this past October, and the wait was well worth it. Nowhere else can you get an experience like this action RPG, not even in big name titles like Diablo 3. From open beta to released, 3.7 million new players signed up to play, with nearly 70,000 people playing at any given time. That's pretty impressive coming from an indie developer studio of about 35 devs. The game itself is so deep, offering up tons of replay value. With its supermassive passive tree, players can specialize to the extreme with nearly limitless build possibilities. The game offers up 3 difficulties and several standard and hardcore leagues to keep you on the edge of your seat constantly. The initial concepts in the game are easy enough for new players, but the in-game epicness with unique and modified maps offer hardcore gamers a challenge plenty of gamers can't even begin to understand. And if that isn't enough, you can participate in any of the 1 hour to 1 week long races that they have. And aside from anything else, the cash shop in the game is flawless. You can essentially purchase visual effects for pretty much anything in the game, like weapons or even portals. You can even purchase an item that will make your favorite weapon or piece of gear look like another one. You know, if you like the stats on an item but want it to look like another. If the game doesn't have enough gore for you, then you can slap on some extra, or even have bloody footprints. There's all kinds of cool stuff, and none of it gives the player an unfair advantage. All in all, there's absolutely no reason this game doesn't deserve the best free-to-play game of 2013, hands down. So guys, if you haven't for some reason at least tried these games, then you weren't around for 2013. And even though it's a harsh year for some games, the games on this list and a couple more were pretty strong and more than worth checking out. So here's to a year in the past and an even better one to begin. Thanks for watching, guys, and let us know in the comments below what your favorite games of 2013 were. And don't miss our next top list video, showcasing the games that we're most excited for in 2014. And until then, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. To a new year, gamers.